honor to introduce Madame Corinne LUQUIENS, Secretary General of the National Assembly and of the Presidency. Thank you very much. Madame Corinne LUQUIENS.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to welcome you here in Palais Bourbon on behalf of Claude Barthelone, President of the National Assembly. When the organizer of the Transatlantic Debating Championship, who spent a few months in our International Affairs Department as an intern, Ian Selecki, asked the President if the National Assembly would accept to host this event, he immediately and gladly accepted. In the first place, the French National Assembly has a tradition of hosting debating tournaments every year since 1994, 20 years now. The final of a debating tournament between French universities, organized by our tonight President, Declan McKenna, takes place here. I have to mention that it's also a tournament in English language, so it's really malicious gossip to say that French people refuse to speak English. I have to mention, yes, I don't know if our National Assembly can be considered as the temple of eloquence. I certainly wouldn't dare to express my opinion on that point, since members could maybe overhear me. But it certainly makes sense that debating tournaments should take place in Parliament, because of course, as you know, the word Parliament comes from parler, to speak. And there is, of course, another reason why this debating tournament championship is very much welcome here. The topic of today's debate is the vision that the competitors of the world 100 years after the First World War. As everyone knows, we are just in the middle of the commemoration of this tragic event. 2 days ago, the President of the French Republic inaugurated a monument in Notre-Dame de Lorette in remembrance of 600,000 young men of all nationalities who lost their lives in the northern part of France. In his speech, he said, "Memory is not for the past, but for the present and the future." The French National Assembly takes its part in this commemoration, not only because some of its members did fight and died during the war, but also because it's an instance in which the Parliament took place in the organization and the conduct of the war. And we have an exhibition at the moment in the National Assembly about the participation of the Parliament during the war. And you can find on our website the debates of secret committees that were held during this period. Finally, I would like to say a few words about the place where we are tonight. You might wonder about it. It might have been better, of course, if this debate had taken place in the chamber itself. But unfortunately, there is a sitting at this moment, and it appeared difficult to drive the members outside of their usual place. But it's certainly the second best place in the National Assembly, because it's the only meeting room which has, as the chamber itself, the shape of a hemicycle. As you've probably noticed, this room is not typical of the 18th century when Palais Bourbon was built. You may know that the palace was not intended to be the seat of an assembly in the first place, for one very good reason at least. It's that there was no assembly at that time during the French monarchy. It was built for the Duchess of Bourbon, illegitimate daughter of Louis XIV, and it's only after the French Revolution in 1795 that it became the seat of the Conseil des 500, predecessor of our National Assembly. Since that time, it seems that we've always been short of place, and that's why this room was built in a courtyard, the Colbert courtyard. That's why the room is called Salle Colbert, named after a minister of the same Louis XIV, and known as an important legislator. Intended as a committee meeting room, it is now the meeting room of the main political group, namely the Socialist group at the time, for the time being. As you can see, the decoration is typically Art Deco, and of course it would have been better maybe if it would have been Art Nouveau, since, of course, we are not speaking about the past, but the present and the future. Le Monde Nouveau, 100 years after the First World War. I won't say more because you have not come here to listen to me, and Declan McKenna will tell you everything about the organization of the debate and the teams. But I will end my speech saying, may the best team win.